Hello and welcome, friends. In this particular module, we'll discuss about the National Ambient Air Quality Standards and calculations pertaining to air quality index. The broad content is significance of National Ambient Air Quality Standards, salient features of Indian government notification, international comparison of ambient air quality standards, definition and application of air quality index, the types of AQI, formation of aggregated AQI, and its significance as far as India is concerned. As you learn the content, you will be able to explain basic concept of ambient air quality standards, as well state the salient features of national ambient air quality standards for India, and also explain definition, formation, and application of AQI. Essentially, these standards are meant for establishing the quantitative limits of certain air pollutants which can be released from certain sources in a given time frame so that it won't be creating hazardous condition for living components. In general, the standards sets guideline to identify air pollutants. So out of the entire range of the pollutants, which pollutants need to be considered would be identified through these quality standards. Also, it gives the indirect hint about the measurement as well as the determination of that particular pollutants in the ambient atmosphere. As well, what with the desired units for a given duration could also be expressed through these quality standards. It gives the time weighted average of identified air pollutant to maintain the desired concentration in residential, industrial, as well as rural area in addition to ecologically sensitive area. It also sets the limits on the pollutants with reference to ambient atmospheric quality of the air. Hence, the basic objective of these quality standards can be considered as it provides the prevention, control, as well as abatement of air pollution. It indicates the level of the air quality necessary with an adequate margin of the safety to protect the public health, vegetation, as well as property. It also assists in establishing the priorities for abatement and control of the pollutant level. It provides the uniform yardstick for assessing the quality of the air over the nation. It indicates the need and extent of the monitoring programs. These standards were adopted in 1982 by Central Pollution Control Board according to the provisions of Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act. Subsequently, it was revised in 1994, 1998, and again in 2009 as per the Gazette of India. As of now, these 2009 standards are being observed over the India. These standards are based on the 12 parameters: PM10, PM2.5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, lead, nickel, arsenic, benzopyrene, and benzene. Here, these are the values as suggested by the notification which was published on 18th November 2009. As you see here, these are the pollutants which are defining the standards and with what weighted average that can be expressed is also given in this particular notification. The standards that are to be observed for industrial, residential, rural, and other areas are given here, in addition to the separate provision for these particular ecologically sensitive areas. Also, as you see here, it is giving the methods of measurement and even some specific hints regarding the annual arithmetic mean of minimum 104 measurements in a year at a particular site taken twice a week, 24 hourly at uniform intervals. Presently, as you see, these particular gases pollutants are recorded as well as even the particulates are monitored through the National Air Quality Monitoring Program over the India. So if you see these particular salient features associated with the Ambient Air Quality Standards 2009, here the area classification is based on the land use, which is done so that industrial areas have to conform the same standard as residential areas, rural areas, as well as even other areas. In earlier standards, more concentration was given on the industry and their emissions. However, as far as 2009 standards are concerned, it is expected to have the uniform standards over the all the areas except the ecologically sensitive area. So here, as you see, the standards are applicable uniformly with the exception of certain stringent standards for the ecologically sensitive areas. These ecologically sensitive areas are specially defined areas where the efforts are taken in order to maintain, sustain the biodiversity. Even the peripheral area is protected in that particular. Say, for example, if we consider certain wetland, if we consider certain, say, specific agricultural area, so accordingly, say, certain wildlife area, so that ecologically sensitive areas are expected to follow certain stringent standards. So here, as you see, certain annual concentration for the other areas is expected to observe as 40 microgram per cubic meter, whereas for ecological sensitive areas, that value is 30 microgram per cubic meter. Similarly, for sulfur dioxide, as compared to 50 for other areas, this value for ecological sensitive area is 20. The previous standards for the residential area have been uniformly applied for the fine particulate matter PM10, carbon monoxide and ammonia as far as provisions of this 2009 is concerned. In fact, here as we consider this particular fine particulate matter, it can be regarded as PM2.5 and less. But for all the areas, that standards are uniformly applied, whereas more stringent limits are defined, prescribed for lead, sulfur dioxide, as well as nitrogen oxide, even for residential areas. Earlier, PM10, that is the suspended particulate matter, was considered as the parameters associated with particulate. However, in addition to SPM, Now, these 2009 standards also prescribe the standards for PM 2.5. In addition to that, even certain new parameters like ozone, arsenic, nickel, benzene, as well as benzoapyrene have been included. The standards for the short duration, just 1 to few hours, have been also set to reduce the peak exposure to some deadly pollutants such as ozone as well as carbon monoxide. So here, if we see the measurement of the pollutants, it is prescribed to have measured with different durations. So certain pollutant could be measured for 4 hours, certain pollutant could be measured for 8 hours, whereas for certain more hazardous pollutant like ozone, carbon monoxide, the standards would be different. If we consider certain data as published in September 2015, the Indian cities are suffering from the heavy particulate pollution, with 52% of the cities hitting the critical level, which are exceeding the 1.5 times the standard established. Also, 36 cities with high level of the pollutant inclusion, which is 1 to 1.5 times annual standard, and merely 19 cities are at moderate level, which is 50% below the standard. Hence, as far as these 2009 standards are concerned, the author related with the publication cited here has suggested, concluded that the revised standards are stricter than the previous and hence it will increase the number of highly polluted or critically polluted cities in India, downgrading its international image. One may take this in quite a positive spirit, such as the September 2015 data suggests the various pollution levels according to 2009 standards. If the monitoring is done and if the proper mitigation measures are taken, one would be able to even change the international image of India by reducing this particular pollution level considerably. If we consider the National Ambient Air Quality Standards in the light of the provisions made by Environmental Protection Agency, very similar to the objectives defined for Indian program, these standards also prescribe the pollutant level that can not be legally exceeding during the specific time as well as for a specific geographic region. These particular standards are defined according to the Clean Air Act, which was amended in 1990 in US. These standards are defined, set with respect to specific objectives, which is related with the listing of the air pollutants, very similar to the identification of the air pollutants that are defined for Indian circumstances, as well as to define the air quality criteria, which is depending on the available scientific information as well as the particular effect of that polluted exposure. Also, under these particular provisions, the standards are defined under two terminologies. One is primary standard and other is secondary standard. This primary air quality standard is essentially meant to define the protection of the human health, whereas the secondary quality standards are meant to protect against the welfare effects such as effects on the vegetation, ecosystems, visibility, and accordingly. Also, there is a provision to have periodical review as well as a revision as appropriate and also the criteria for these particular national air quality standards for the pollutants or the class of the pollutants that are defined under these standards. Very similar to India as well as US, all the countries have their embed air quality standards defined. World Health Organization has selected some specific parameters and accordingly they have given some specific guidelines as tabulated here. As we compare the standards that are defined in India that are a bit lenient as compared to the guidelines given by WHO. Here, as we compare such quality standards with the other countries, these US has defined these quality standards based on six pollutants. As mentioned here, the details can be had through this link. Also, the European Union has defined their standards by taking into account these 12 pollutants. The details can be had through this particular link. As we consider this particular ambient air quality standards as defined by various countries as a requirement of common being, there are certain difficulties to understood as far as expression of air quality is concerned. Usually, this air quality is described by certain concentration of the pollutants. So the way we see various standards, these pollutants like PM 2.5, sulfur dioxide, benzene, nitrogen dioxide, and etc., can be taken into account, and accordingly, in terms of their concentrations, air quality is assessed. If we consider this kind of expressions, the expressions may tend to be confusing, essentially for the common people. As well, if we consider these particular, say, large volumes that are generated through various monitoring programs, these voluminous data could also be creating some certain confusion for even scientific as well as technical community. So, if we consider the various graphs, their expression, statistical analysis, and certain complex findings that are expressed through various articles, journal papers, common people may not be satisfied with that kind of the expressions, and hence they will obviously tend to lose the interest and can neither appreciate various efforts being taken by various regulatory agencies in order to curb the air pollution. As we consider the involvement of the citizen, it is very much important because we have to make them aware as well as we have to support them in order to understand the release of certain air pollutant as well as the associated impact in short term as well as in long term manner. Hence, instead of relying simply on ambient air quality standards as well as by releasing the concentrations as observed for certain regions, certain common term has been developed which is in the form of air quality index. So, if we consider now the interpretation of air quality the way we discussed on the previous slide, there is a challenge of communicating with the people in a comprehensible manner with two dimensions. It is very difficult to translate the complex scientific as well as associated medical information into simple, precise, understandable words as far as common people is concerned, as well as what was the impact of certain pollutants in the historical sense, what is the impact for current scenario and how it may hamper the futuristic living need to be properly conveyed for the common people. So, in order to address these particular challenges, certain comprehensible AQI skill needs to be developed. This air quality index can be defined as an overall scheme that transforms the weighted value of the individual air pollution related parameters into single parameter or certain set of numbers. As far as Indian circumstances are concerned, there were no significant efforts in the immediate past in order to develop this AQI because the air quality monitoring program was formally started only after 1984, and the related awareness for these particular air pollutants was not to the requisite extent. So, as far as Indian circumstances are concerned, this National Air Quality Index concept was launched by Honorable Prime Minister on 6th April 2015 with the objective for the dissemination of air quality information to common people. If we consider the contribution of the various scientists in terms of the development of air quality index, we can understand the basic objectives as defined by Oud in 1978 for the air quality index. So the first objective is to assist the administrators for allocation of the funds and for determining the priorities for developing proper control on air pollution. Also, as we consider the various regions on a common platform, giving certain AQI that would assist us in order to rank the various locations in terms of air quality. Say, for example, if we consider Indian circumstances, we can compare the air quality indices which are defined for various metro cities, and accordingly we can say that, say, Bangalore air quality is comparatively good as we have the air quality compared with Delhi. Also, in order to establish certain control, one can enforce the standards by making use of the air quality index that is defined for that particular region. As we determine the air quality indices for a particular region over the definite time frame, one will be able to understand what kind of trend is prevailing for certain pollutant concentration as well as also even the air quality in general. As air quality is monitored for a particular location and the air quality index is determined for the given region, one will be able to inform the public, and accordingly the public will be able to take the due precautions over their daily activities in line with the information supplied to them. The scientific community can also make use of these particular air quality indices in order to conduct the scientific research. If we go through the literature, we'll be able to have various expressions associated with the determination of air quality. So here, as you see, certain pollutant concentration is divided by its respective standard and it is expressed as percentage. And this percentage is used for determination of air quality index by making use of 6 similar computations for various pollutants. As you consider the second approach, here the pollutants are expressed as ratios and ultimately they are averaged out and converted into the percentage. Even the worldwide literature suggests various methods in order to determine the air quality index, such as Green Index, Penstock Air Quality Index, Ontario Air Quality Index, Oak Ridge Air Quality Index, Greater Vancouver Air Quality Index, and also Most Undesirable Respirable Contaminant Index, such as MERC. As we consider the terminology and the determination concept of AQI in Indian circumstances, it is closely associated with Greater Vancouver Air Quality Index. As you see here in this table, according to this Greater Vancouver Air Quality Index, certain breakpoint concentrations are defined for certain selected pollutants. These particular pollutants are expected to be measured over the given time and expressed in the concentrations that are given here. Here, these particular breakpoint concentrations are the concentrations which defines the human resistance and the sustainability associated with the impact of that particular pollutant. So up to that particular pollutant concentration level, one can accept the effect associated. So say for this particular sulfur dioxide, as we see, the concentration observed over the 24 hours as expressed 0.06. So up to that, the defined index is 25 and this is expressed to be good. So various pollutant concentration levels as expressed in this particular row are taken into account and are aggregated in the value of 25, 50, 100 in order to describe the air quality as good, fair, poor. Here, these particular concepts are adopted even for Indian circumstances. Here, the entire pollutant labels, as you see here, are defined in terms of these pollutants. The category is defined in terms of good, satisfactory, moderately polluted, poor, very poor, as well as severe. So, in order to have the air quality category as good, the pollutant levels as shown here need to be observed for the given region. In a similar manner, if the concentrations are, say, reaching to the levels as we go in the downward direction in this particular table, the air quality will go on deteriorating, and accordingly the color associated with that value would be giving the impact of that air quality. So as we considered the previous slide, the various pollutants are considered as X1, X2, etc. as Xn. Taking into account their particular concentration for that particular time in a given range, the sub-indices are determined, and these sub-indices are aggregated in order to get the ultimate air quality index. So the OAT has defined this AQI as an overall scheme that transforms the weighted values of individual air pollution related parameters, say for example these polluted concentrations, into single number or into set of numbers. Let's try to understand how this particular sub-index is determined. The sub-index for the given pollutant concentration, say Cp, is based on linear segmented principle, and it is calculated by using this expression. So this Cp is given pollutant concentration. In connection with this Cp, we can define Bhi and BLO. Here this Bhi is the breakpoint concentration greater or equal to given concentration Cp, whereas this BLO is breakpoint concentration smaller or equal to given concentration. Corresponding to this Bhi and BLO, the index given is expressed as IHI and ILO for Bhi and BLO respectively. So as we determine this particular IP, that is sub-index for various pollutants, the maximum pollutant concentration or the maximum breakpoint concentration which is given by this particular sub-index would be adopted, and accordingly the air quality index would be defined. So if we consider certain, say, particular data, here this table is giving certain concentrations of PM10. As we wish to determine this sub-index for PM10, here the breakpoint concentration which is greater for the given concentration for this 85 mg is 100, whereas the corresponding sub-index IHI is also 100. Similarly, here the breakpoint concentration which is smaller than the given concentration of 85 is considered here as 50. The corresponding AQI value is also 50. So the given concentration is 85 minus the breakpoint concentration smaller than the given concentration of 85 is considered here, and as it is summed with ILO, we are getting the sub-index as 85. Even as we consider the rest of the pollutants by making use of this Bhi, BLO, IHI, ILO for the given concentration, we can determine the sub-indices. So as we get number of such sub-indices, the maximum of that would be considered in order to determine the air quality index for that particular region for that particular duration. So the same calculation can be done through readily available template. So as you see, the given concentration is 150. So you can make use of the expression that we considered as IHI minus ILO divided by BHI minus BLO into Cp minus BLO plus ILO. So by making use of this concentration, say the calculations that we have to perform are 200 minus 101 divided by 250 minus 101 into 150 minus 101 plus 101 by adopting the values that are given in this particular table. The computations that we did by making use of the expression same are expressed by making use of certain Excel function here. So accordingly, by making use of data of BHI, IHI, BLO, ILO, we can calculate this sub-index as 133. As we consider the rest of the pollutants here, this value is higher and hence the AQI is expressed as 133 here. So this AQI considers 8 pollutants, namely PM10, PM2.5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia and lead. So it can be based on these particular 8 pollutants. However, it can be computed only if the data pertaining to minimum 3 pollutants are available, out of which one must be PM2.5 or PM10. So as you see, for a particular region, these indices are expressed and accordingly the AQI is determined as 95, where the responsible pollutant is PM10. So as we have these particular indices defined as good, satisfactory, moderately polluted, poor, very poor and severe, in line with the various ranges that are defined here, the associated impacts would be very easy to understand for common beings. So, say if we consider this particular air quality to be satisfactory, which is given by this color code, the common people will easily understand the associated meaning of that. That is, certain sensitive people may suffer from the minor breathing, whereas if the AQI goes on deteriorating, accordingly they are expected to take the precautions associated with the impact as given here. One thing can also be understood as we consider this particular AQI range. Here, in order to have it good, AQI is related with the defined air quality standard to half of its extent. So say if permissible standard is 100 microgram per cubic meter, half of that is 50 in order to define it as good. Whereas if the pollutant concentrations are seen to be at par with the suggested air quality standard, say for example 100 microgram per cubic meter, then for that particular case the air quality is expected and expressed as satisfactory. So in the linear form, as the concentrations goes on increasing, accordingly the categories associated with the pollution would be defined for the proper understanding of common people. So thanks for your attention. I hope the concepts related with the National Ambient Air Quality Standards as well as Air Quality Index are clear to you. As we move ahead, we will discuss about the disasters associated with the air pollution experienced by human community so far. So bye till then. I wish you very happy learning. Thank you.